Good evening, fellow ghouls and specters alike. It's your ghost host with the most, Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5, here to engage in some haunted holiday hijinks by trudging through the catacombs and dusting off the cobwebs to recount our spooky selection of Halloween classics.
So light the jack-o'-lanterns, suit up, and grab the candy dish as we revive and recount tonight's spooky selection. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Who got D pregnant?
Bird!
All right. Okay, Dragon. So yeah, we are back. It is the sitcom portion of Haunted Holiday Hijinks this year. It's Always Sunny. It's kind of having a little bit of a moment, as you know. I've obviously been watching through it, over the past year or so. But the last season that just came out got a pretty good response, so we figured it's in the zeitgeist. Let's talk through it. This is the single Halloween episode, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that we have ever actually had with It's Always Sunny, right?
To my knowledge, yes. I mean, I don't know in the later seasons if they kind of snuck one in the background, but really, no.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, in the show's fashion, I think that it's definitely a choice that we have. It is technically a Halloween episode. It takes place around Halloween, but Halloween really is not the main focal point in this episode. So it's going to be an interesting discussion just from that regard. What do you think of the episode, Dragon? What's your baseline opinion of it?
I mean, look, it's a fun way of exploring, character pregnancy in a sitcom. You know how it usually is the trope of we got to hide it or we got to come up with some workaround. But here it becomes the focal point, which is kind of interesting. Like, we're not steering away from it. We're addressing, yeah, very casually, she's pregnant. How did that happen? And it never hurts putting the gang in funny costumes. So.
Well, I mean, the costumes are obviously like one of the big kind of like if it wasn't for the costumes, I don't even know if this would have made the cut as far as like a good Halloween episode. But we do have a lot of it's definitely a little bit of a mystery as well, and we have quite a few sides. Dragon, I really do feel like this might be almost like a transition point episode with Always Sunny, and I say that because it's one of the first episodes where they really went out of their way to experiment with the format. And dare I say, I feel like this is maybe one of the last big hurrahs as far as I almost feel like this episode in certain parts was kind of written because they were sort of sick of the D Bird jokes, and they're like, okay, let's get them all out of our system. Let's do a really memorable sight gag based on the D Bird thing. And then, obviously it'll come up from time to time, but I think after this, it didn't come up as much. So it's an interesting kind of it's almost kind of like a midway point for where we are now as far as like where the show is. But yeah, definitely an interesting, I do like the multiple perspectives, although it does feature my least favorite characters in the show, which are the McFoyle brothers.
Isn't it McPoyle?
I think it is a McFoyle. Yeah, I don't like them enough to care. All right. Anyways, so yeah, you want to just jump right into it?
Yes.
All right. So we have a very delightful little this plot setup here. You want to tell them about it? It's right up your alley.
Yes, so the gang essentially are in the midst of plotting a museum infiltration where they're expecting Night at the Museum-esque shenanigans to unfold if they spend the night in a museum, almost Scooby Doo style.
Uh
Anyway, so then they point out Dee's been getting fat,
huh.
and just basically she reminds them, hey, I'm not fat, I'm pregnant, and they just had not cared at this point at all. They don't take it seriously. They don't care
I
about
mean,
it
Mac is just
whatsoever.
basically like doing it all official. Like, okay, so just in case it's lost on you, we don't care.
Mm-hmm. He spells it out.
Mhm.
Anyway, so then Dee, she then gets them all to care by saying, "Oh yeah, well one of you is the father."
Oh boy.
Enter, enter, of course, the classic title card format with its always
I
sunny.
think the title card comes up with Charlie just saying, "Oh shit."
Yep. Look, we don't talk about It's Always Sunny nearly enough, but to say, one of my favorite aspects of the show, I love the music choice in like the main themes of the show. Like basically, it very much reminds me of Curb Your Enthusiasm. With the
Oh,
kind
very
of,
much so. It's almost kind of like the two shows are almost like sibling shows when it comes to sound design.
well, that's the thing. A lot of people that when It's Always Sunny came out, the example was it was kind of like R-rated Seinfeld, or like far more unlikable. Not unlikable in that the quality of the show was bad, but unlikable in terms these are like the unlikable traits that the Seinfeld characters on crack.
If the Seinfeld characters were kind of jerks, these characters are like basically evil, borderline.
Yeah. Or they're a-holes. They're full on. But yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
Dennis is probably a serial killer.
Well, that is the running theory, and there's not a lot to disprove that, frankly.
Right, right.
Yeah, it was so creepy when we made him a sex offender that one time. Yeah. Anywho, so let's see. So apparently, this happened during a Halloween party, and that's she got pregnant at a Halloween party. And then that's I guess that's and we have like, oh crap, and then with the music. So they're trying to think back, but they all realize they have this fun new colloquial term they come up with in the episode. They didn't have a blackout because blackout means it'd be completely like the Hangover, and they have to go try and piece together anything. But they were drunk as all get out, and they have browned out.
But they all remember bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, so that's the brown of it all, Tiki. The brown.
Dragon, she had a butt so good that the toilet begged for the brown.
Before anyone writes letters in the comments, that's from Naked Gun, the new one.
That is one of my favorite lines from the new Naked Gun movie.
Just want to make sure that people know that. Yes. But it's a good pull, though, Tika. When you said that, I recognized. I was like, oh, wait, some people might not know what he's talking about.
Well, you know what? If you don't catch my random pop culture jokes, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
All right.
Anywho, so Dennis is proud of the term that's been coined here. And he's going to try to make a thing of it. The brown out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. I really love the tone of that gag too. It feels very of course, It's Always Sunny. It's like the writing process is pretty much the friendship that you see, between Mac Dennis and Charlie.
Sure. Yeah.
So a lot of them kind of come up with something in the moment here, just like him calling out Mac just like, did you just make? Dennis like, Mac, did you just make that up? Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that. It's delightful. It's like the little peek in the writer's room. Isn't that cute?
Mm.
All right. So let's put our browns together and figure out which one of you banged my sister, which is just a great line out of context. Pull out a brown. Let's put our browns together and figure out which one of you banged my sister.
All right. So I believe the first thing we start with is the fact that Mac and Dennis were supposed to go as Mario and Luigi, but Mac backed out in order to go as Viggo Mortenstein, everyone's favorite Lord of the Rings character.
God. Okay, so a few things here. Again, one, also, I love that Charlie's just pointing out the whole thing of like, maybe we shouldn't overuse the Browns thing. Just the Brown semantics gag, which is always it's an Always Sunny staple. Them getting bogged down in the semantics, getting derailed from the main conversation. So. Mm-hmm. Our story structure for the episode is like a Rashomon, kind of like meets the Hangover story structure. They don't remember anything, or at least they vaguely remember things. But we're gonna basically see we don't do huge perspective shifts, but we do a few of them here and there. So we do kind of like the Rashomon thing. It's like we're seeing different POVs and different interpretations of the same singular story. So
I mean, for a 20-minute episode, we get quite a few perspectives. It's pretty ambitious as far as the framing device goes.
No, we do. It's just some are more radical and really perspective-y than others. Yeah. So Dennis is mad at Mac because he's not doing Mario and Luigi. So it means he's stuck as Luigi, which is very ironic given he's going to switch costumes with somebody later. It's a shame that we don't see it on Charlie's part, though.
Oh yeah, Charlie as Luigi. That would be fun to see.
And, Tiki, sadly, the way Hollywood works, you do actually have to wonder, though, did that happen just because of the It's Always Sunny episode?
No, I mean maybe, possibly, but Charlie Day is such a out of all the weird casting choices in the Mario movie, he's the only one that's legitimately like, yes, that makes perfect.
No, I have no qualms with it. I'm just saying, in terms of how we arrive at some of these decisions, like Bill Hader's Cat in the Hat, SNL. That's how we get that. This is what I'm.
Sure.
This is what I'm trying to say here is that it feels like Hollywood is like maybe not doing the intensive casting that you would expect.
Well, I think a good example of that, of what you're talking about, is the fact that like they cast and this might be more of like a political thing, but like in the live action Lion King remake, the only gay guy they cast happened to be playing Timon, who Nathan Lane, the only queer person in that original cast. So they're like, we'll gotta have the token gay.
Yep.
I don't know.
Despite what certain fans might say about Jeremy Irons. But yes.
I don't believe, is he?
No, he's not. I'm just saying that certain fans would desperately
want. The character certainly is, yes, but
well, that's what I'm saying.
Undoubtedly,
like fandom, I think, would want that to be confirmed, but no, it's not. Okay, so so then we have Viggo Morgenstein, which is love that Dennis just kind of like deconstructs it. Okay, first of all, that's not the character's name, and it's not even the actor's name. Is the fact that of all the heart-throbbing,
what would have been funny though is if you would have done basically a costume that was like Viggo Mortensen as the Frankenstein monster. I know that Mac is not nearly clever enough for that, but it still would have been funny.
But I love the idea of like all the Lord of the Rings characters he could have gone with. He's going with Viggo Mortensen. All right. So Frank and Charlie, they are basically, at least at first glance, they are Spider-Man and the Phantom of the Opera. But you get Charlie, and there's a little hint of things to come, kids. Just thrown out there. There's a reason we have the Phantom of the Opera, present. Again, Charlie thinks the Phantom of the Opera is a vampire. And he's trying to cash in like kind of the era this came out. Like Twilight was still kind of big, so
I think we have a lot of really good drunk acting in this episode, and I think Charlie kind of starts it out with like, she could be into Twilight. What if she's into Twilight? I could get her, man.
He's doing the, I want to suck your blood shtick, he's doing that. Again, I do love Dan DeVito dressed in this really terrible Zentai-looking Spider-Man outfit, but I will
get worse as the episode goes on.
I will say, I love that he has like the goggles on, which feels like it's an attempt at Spider-Man. I'll give him that. It's an attempt. All right, so because we have Frank, Charlie, D's an angel, but as far as everyone sees it, more birds. Just birds.
Yeah, Dennis basically just like latches onto the whole wing thing, and he's basically just like, no, if you wear anything with wings, we're gonna call you a bird. That's just how it is.
She points out there's the peacock girl, and they're all leering creepily at the peacock girl, which is, by the way, the image that we have right here. By the way, that's them leering at the peacock girl.
There's one other image that, like, I think you could have got, but it's not Halloween enough. It's the image of Mac and the ostrich in the bathroom.
I know, it was tempting,
which I think is the iconic image of the episode. But I get why you went with this, because that
need a group shot. It's the gang.
Out of context, that image has nothing to do with Halloween. It's just, that is like the shot that I think of when I think of this episode, though.
It's Mac with long hair. It doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so Dennis sets his sights.
Just you watch, Dragon. The next season is going to be Mac's long hair arc.
Yeah.
Anyways.
The fat arc, the gay arc is always.
Exactly.
The trench coat arc is a whole anyway. So Dennis,
the trench coat arc. You're right.
Yeah. So Dennis targets the girl, and so love that Dennis like, okay, so far this is on the money. So far, this all sounds right to me. I remember I wooed her.
He just jumps right into the Dennis system.
Yep. So so Dennis then takes it from there. Says, yeah, we heard the commotion at the bar. He was sealing the deal, which in reality she was not interested whatsoever. Just delusional
Just
maniac.
like basically laid it out as plainly as she fucking possibly can.
Still,
Like,
it's funny.
I have no interest in you. Your costume is creepy. Please leave me alone.
Again, who knew that Luigi without Mario would be so problematic? Well, not
I mean,
problematic, but
I
not
love Luigi. It's just Dennis. Dennis is problematic.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry, not problematic, but I'm just saying
I'd
that
say at
Luigi
this
would.
point in popular culture, Luigi is like easily the more popular character over Mario, just as far as like the personality goes.
Well, sure. What I mean is like that being in that costume at Halloween without your Mario would be a problem. Like
It
that.
would be. It
Yeah,
would be. Yes. Yes. You're right. You're
that
right.
would be like that much of a detriment to him that really no one's going to recognize Luigi, or no one's even going to ask where Mario is, or think the little short spider guy might be Mario.
Oh my god.
Just saying.
But Danny DeVito would have the proportions to be a game accurate
That's
Mario.
what I'm saying. Look at him again. If you okay, just blur your vision a little bit from
No,
a
I can see it. I
distance.
can
Tell
see
me
it.
that doesn't look like look, it's Mario and Luigi right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's see. So while that's going on, yeah. So he thinks she's not interested at all. Charlie, meanwhile, he's coming to Dennis. Now, let me add, how much of the sobbing do you think is just Dennis's like poor opinion of Charlie, or do you think it's just like
Oh, I
Charlie?
mean, I definitely think all over the episode we're getting big exaggerations, and I think this is definitely part of that for sure.
Charlie sobbing over rejection, mentioning something about being like a sexy girl, or the costume's too sexy.
Mhm.
So because of this mixed signal that he got, and he's like the magnetism of the costume. So he wants to get rid of the costume, but so he offers a switch. So the idea is they swapped costumes, which is going to be a very important plot point later on. So says this is awesome. Dennis thinks, oh yeah, that confirms it. It was awesome. I had sex with the peacock girl. Mystery solved. I want to. We never want to underestimate the value of Danny DeVito in this show, and not even just like of course with DeVito, it's the idea that
He has
anything.
one moment towards the end that just kills me. It's like right at the last like minute or two, and we'll get to it when we get to it.
I feel collectively when people think about how great DeVito and Frank Reynolds is in It's Always Sunny, they're always going to like all the broad stuff with Frank. But you know what? I just love like the blunt honesty and the casualness of Frank Reynolds, and we have like a bit here where it's just like
Also, I feel like he's the only character that, in spite of all his depravity, he's actually capable of having a sensitive side to him.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, to a degree. I mean, he has the potential for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love the casual. This is like the masterful acting of a pro like Danny DeVito. Just here, just Dennis's mystery solved. So a beat goes by. No, it's not. That's not the mystery. Just the way he says it. I can't even explain. Like, I just like flatly read it on paper. Nothing about that. That's not the mystery. So Dennis posits that it was it would have to be Charlie. Charlie's the father, because of all the regret and remorse that he slept with Dee. And then Charlie remembers, wait a minute, no, Dennis, those are tears of joy. So then we get the Charlie story.
Oh boy.
Dee, tell about Charlie's story. Tell what happens.
All right, so let's see. First of all, he confronts the waitress and the boyfriend, right?
Well, we have Frank and Artemis at the bar. They're arguing at the bar. But yeah, so Charlie, he's brokering peace talks with the McPoyles.
Mm-hmm.
What he thinks
I
is
do
going
like how
really
all these little disparate elements come back. It's a very well written episode in that way.
Yep.
Kind of setting up little plot points that are going to come back later.
This is where we start the running gag of Dee's costume, and each story is getting slowly but surely more bird-like. So it's what we see now, little yellow feathers here and there.
Oh God, fucking! Do you remember Carly Beth's costume in the Haunted Mask Dragon?
Vaguely.
The one that her mother made for her.
Yeah, the really goofy looking one.
It was literally a duck.
Yeah.
And that would have fit this. That would have fit this very well. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So the waitress enters. So the waitress seemingly the waitress enters wearing like a masquerade mask, or like kind of basically going maybe like an eyes wide shut, or just like a masquerade kind of look.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlie gets into a scuffle with the new boyfriend, and seemingly punches the guy out.
And in his mind, he's like the shit for this. He's defending her honor, as he says.
Yeah, he's punched the guy out. Milk spills all over D, which like, oh, there's milk all over me. The waitress is turned on. That's insanely masculine. He makes out with the waitress, and boom goes the dynamite. There's your story. So then again, Frank's blunt honest. And I love the delivery here, Charlie. That didn't happen. You got parts of it right, but you're leaving out some major things. I love just Frank being on the periphery of the story.
Is basically like the stern but loving stepdad to the group.
Yeah, especially Charlie. Obviously, there's a huge father-son component with Charlie and Frank, and that's that kind of. Right. So then we get Frank's story. So Frank, he corrects him first off. Like, first, I wasn't Spider-Man. Stop saying it's dressed like Spider-Man. I was Man-Spider. So basically, he's if Bruce Campbell was not in the first Spider-Man movie, this is what Tobey Maguire would have been dressed as. Okay.
Yes.
I'm the human spider. I'm the Man-Spider.
This is where he has like the fake arms, right?
Yeah, he's got the fake arms, and yeah, so he's the man. He has like the googly eyes, like glued onto the. So he has like multiple spider eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks funny. Okay, so we have this ridiculous aside where he mentions that he and Artemis were arguing over love make. Recently they had been having sex outside of Wendy's by the dumpster. We cut to this. We cut to the dumpster. It's just basically we have like this gross tangent. Like Mac refocuses. Frank has nothing to do with what we're talking about. We don't want to know anything about that. Just so they were arguing. So basically, she wanted to do another one of those dumpster hump sessions, but Charlie basically we didn't get back to Charlie mixing up with the waitress's new boyfriend. Charlie asked Mac to get his back. Mac then trips on Charlie's phantom cape, and that's how the milk spills on D. Waitress says, "Charlie, you're insane," and leaves. And Artemis says, "Yeah, insanely masculine," and then makes out with Charlie to make Frank jealous.
And again, this is another one of those things in the episode that just gets more and more absurd as it goes along. It kind of ratchets up the absurdity of this one moment.
Yeah. So then after he makes the deal with Dennis, that's pretty much how the rest of the story goes, seemingly.
Mm-hmm.
So they call in Artemis to get, because she was not as browned out as them, it would seem. So they call in Artemis, but problem being Artemis again, she just due to being a wacky character, probably drugged up as Frank is sometimes. She has a very spotty memory.
Mm-hmm.
But she does run to the Halloween party for convenience's sake. We have the Wendy's gag where the whole thing with Wendy's, like a lot of gross stuff about like something with a bun. How it was incorporated into the lovemaking, and she was very. So I thought you might need tips. Like, no, we don't want tips. Just continue with the story.
Yeah.
So she confirms Mac had sex with D, which of course would be very meta if they actually stuck with that. Didn't,
sure,
but it's married in real life, have kids.
So right.
He technically is the father, just not in universe.
I always forget about that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's not her and Glenn Howerton.
Well, yeah,
that would have been weird.
That'd be Dexter.
Yes. Anyways.
No, technically they were. Anyway.
It would be Dexter in the sense that like they're not technically siblings, but
I mean Dexter in the sense
of weird connotation there.
Well, no, it's in the sense of in real life they were married.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that too. Jesus,
that's what
Christ.
I mean. It's for brief, and then that they were still doing the show after the marriage dissolved too.
Oh man,
yeah.
That must have been. Oh, Jesus Christ!
And I could be wrong. I want to say
they were still doing the show. That's probably exactly when the actual sexual tension started. Oh wow!
I want to say it was either that or like if it was either during 6 or 7 when that happened. Like 6, it started in 6 and 7. I forget if we had any residual thing of that, but regardless, that's when it happened.
I feel like I need to like quote Zuko, like, "That's rough, man.
That's rough, buddy.
That's rough, buddy."
Okay, so Okay, anyway, yeah. Good. We have some bird jokes here. Remember that we have like some memory of D just becomes more and more oddly. So it's funny that Artemis's memory of D is more bird-like than Frank's when you think about it. You really look at them in comparison, where it's like D's just making. She has like a beak on, and she's making bird sounds.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like at this point, like Artemis, she came into the show as like a weird friend of Dee's, but like she's much more attached to Frank at this point.
Oh yeah,
So
I
I think
forgot how she came into it. So I forgot she was a friend of D's.
she was a friend of Dee's to begin with. Yes.
Yeah. All right, so basically, they both D and Mac separately after the whole milk spillage, they both went to the bathroom. D went to the ladies' room, it was full, so she went to the men's. So she and Mac were alone together. Artemis and Frank were about to do the deed in the men's room, but it was locked, and she heard sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, pretty direct conclusions to make there. So then they end up doing handies in the station wagon. That's essentially what happened there. So seems to be case closed again, very meta. But then Mac clarifies. It gets into his story that with he has the most warped POV of all.
Yeah, and like I said, I think this is like the most memorable gag of the episode. Maybe one of the most memorable gags of the whole series, if I'm being completely honest with you, man.
So
like, I just love the timing. I just love how it's just like we see him and he's just like, "Oh, hey D," and then the camera just pans back just a little bit to reveal the ostrich.
Yeah. It's not just that. It's not just bruh. It's actually Caitlin Olsen doing the sounds for the bird.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like
no. Honestly, I think it's just like a perfect sight gag.
Yeah. So with his warped POV, you got like Charlie being complete. Mac, help me! I need you. And you'll notice the guy that the boyfriend that he slugs is like is tall and muscular and bald and everything. He just looks he looks like The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Practically. This is this huge guy. He's a huge guy now, and it's like everybody chill. It's cool now, and everyone's cheering for him. It's a victory for Mac.
Yeah.
So there's blood on his knuckles.
But there is somebody lurking in the bathroom, someone who might be even more disgusting than D. A member of my least favorite band of characters, Margaret McPoyle. Yeah. And I don't know, Dragon. My whole issue with the McPoyles is that I just think like I feel like they've always just been like one note jokes, and every time they show up, they like, unlike pretty much every other element of this show, they don't really evolve. Like they're just kind of like the weird incest siblings, and that's all they've ever been. And I don't know, like for me, they're definitely the element of the show where it's like when they pop up, I kind of phase out a little bit.
I mean, look, they're not my favorite. The actor who plays the lead, McPoyle, I've seen him in other things, and he's pretty good. Like, he was in Psych, and he's also in House of Cards. He's a good actor, but he pops up here. It's more like, oh, it's that guy. It's pretty much my main connection with McPoyles. Otherwise, I'm pretty much like, yeah, not my go-tos for It's Always Sunny either. So, like, remember they had that weird hostage crisis thing. They're all wearing like the robes and the milk and everything. The whole
honestly, that was probably their best episode, the hostage episode.
Yeah. So let's see. Also, we had the ostrich gag with D. Caitlin also doing the sound effects. So he's doing the deed with Margaret McPoyle, and it appears that she's doing like her weird like lip licking thing, and he's asking, is that sexual? Is it sexual? And just like, okay. So so again, they realize with this, like, wait a minute, the way we can confirm what's happening is the McPoyles, they drink milk, which means they're sober, so they can actually have an accurate account of things, but they really don't want to see it.
I do like that there is something just kind of like vaguely sexually off-putting about the fact that they're all drinking milk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing.
Vaguely sexually suggestive.
Well, remember, Tiki, the gag of like the whole gag of Dee, she's covered in milk and she becomes pregnant. That's the gag. So it's the whole
Exactly.
like
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
one of the gang like milk gets spilled on Dee. So anyway. So we have the creepy McPoyle apartment where we have the flashback where like the truce was less than mutual than Charlie suggested it was. The waitress seemingly didn't. It would appear, if I'm reading it right, Tiki, you tell me if I'm wrong here. It wasn't the waitress at all. In the actual, like he imagined it was, he thought it was the waitress, and all the other.
No, it absolutely was not the waitress at all.
Yeah, so it was not the waitress at all. He got into a fight with a random person thinking it was the waitress. He genuinely had no idea who he was. Where in the past it was like, wait a minute, how does she not know who he is? It's half of his face is exposed.
Well, Dragon, you can do a lot with those Phantom of the Opera masks as far as not exposing the face.
True.
I mean, person basically just becomes invisible at that point. That's common knowledge.
Well, of course.
It's like the Superman glasses.
Yeah. There's a hypno effect.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So,
by the way, Phantom of the Opera, make a note, that is going to come back later in the season.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
So right. Mac bumps into Charlie, which led to the very sexually suggestive spilt milk imagery. Mac, he's apparently so back again in the fight too. Like Mac ended up like punching out this fake waitress. So it's not even he didn't even punch out the guy; he punched out the woman, which is just
right.
So Artemis then kisses Charlie drunkenly to make so she kisses
I'm
Charlie.
High off my ass on mescaline.
There you go. Yeah, not drunk, but yeah.
Which
I'm
again,
high on mescaline.
Every time we see her, it just gets more and more unhinged appropriately.
Insanely high on mescaline. So that's really
insanely high on mescaline. That's the line.
That's where they get the insanely masculine from.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so Mac made love to Margaret, which of course we get like the weird golf clap and the weird laugh from the foils.
Right.
And then they
have their moments. They have their moment. I mean, my issue isn't necessarily that their shtick is unfunny. It's just that it's a little repetitive.
Okay, now to be fair, one of the great McPoyle gags is in this scene here where like she's expecting a call. I'm not going to call her. You will call her. All right, jeez, I'll call her. All right.
Yeah, that's great.
So Dee, so we reveal that Dee was jealous of the Peacock girl. So drunkenly she demanded the switch costumes. Initially it's a no, but then she convinces her because look, that weird plumber guy, you want him to back off. We switch costumes. So she basically talked her into it. So of course, Charlie. We don't see him, but he's in the Luigi suit. So presumably they assume. Okay, so then so she went to the back room with Charlie. Wait a minute, that's not Charlie. That was Dennis, which means
oh boy,
we're gonna make a little Dylan Massett.
Wow. Yes, that's exactly what they're gonna do.
Now, to be fair, that's the best case scenario. Dylan Massett is like the poster child for like there's a quality incest baby.
I keep seeing that actor on Fire Country whenever I watch Survivor with my grandparents, and I'm like, wow, he's still a convict who's trying to be a firefighter, huh? He hasn't like graduated to actual firefighter yet.
It's a little judgmental, Tiki.
What, of the show?
I don't know, just
because that's exactly what that show is, Dragon. I hate to break it to you.
Well, no, I know that's what the show is. When you say, why does he have to get he's a convict. He's a convict firefighter.
I know, but they've been going on for like 10 years now?
It has not been 10 years. Come on.
It feels like it's been 10 years.
No, you're saying that because you barely watch the show.
I don't watch the show. I just
exactly. You don't watch the show. I see the ads too. I don't watch it, but still, man, I'm just saying, like, you don't know. I don't know. We don't know.
Over under 8 seasons, Dragon.
All right, fine, 8 seasons.
No, it's actually only 4 seasons.
Are you kidding me? You're throwing 10 years? It's only 4 seasons.
I mean, that honestly doesn't feel right. Honestly.
All I know is when I see that show, I think, man, Dylan needs a haircut. Anyway, so
I actually like Max
Yeah.
Thayrow better as an actor than Charlie Hunnam, but he's given major Charlie Hunnam vibes in that show.
Which is ironic given what Charlie Hunnam has recently done.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
All right. So, yeah, point being, so the horrifying realization, the real scary, Halloween monster movie moment here is like, oh God, Dennis was taken to the back office there, and he can't remember what he did or didn't do. So the presumption is, oh God, if he's the father,
Mm-hmm.
and Dee thinks it's Charlie who's the father. So Dennis is like he's sick. He's throwing up all over the place, and the McPoe's like delightful. They're loving this.
I do like their in unison, delightful.
Yeah, it's creepy.
I mean, this is a good episode for them. I'll give them that much.
All right, so we have our ending here. So they're all
I think
frantic.
it's when they pretty much take over the episode that I'm kind of like, okay, great. Like the whole episode is going to be just this. All right. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So we end the episode. We're all frantic at Dee's doorstep. They break the news to Dee that Dennis was actually Dennis was wearing Charlie's costume. He's been throwing up the whole way over, and Frank is, look, we got to get you to Mexico ASAP. So Dee reveals to them, deflates the tension, saying, "Look, none of you idiots are the father.
Mm-hmm.
I just told that to you out of spite, just to drive you nuts," which obviously worked. So Dennis is more than relieved. He won the lottery.
Now there is one moment with Danny DeVito I have to point out. As soon as she says like none of you are the father, Danny DeVito just gives this noise like ah! And Dragon, I swear to God, it's like go back and watch it. It is very much him channeling the penguin.
Well, he does like the random sound effect during the chaotic scenes, and it's always funny. So that's part of course.
But yes, Dennis is very relieved indeed.
Yep. So Dee then taunts them and says, "Well, just because of that, I'm not gonna tell you who the father really is." And they kind of throw back. They're like, they don't care. Like, we don't care. It's they don't give a crap because it doesn't pertain to them anymore. It's like, who cares? So hey, the museum, there still might be time. Like, yeah. So they're walking down the hall talking about the museum, and then realize he's making bird jokes about Dee. He's like, maybe an ostrich or an emu. We should save the emu.
And then I love how the last beat is just Danny DeVito being like, "You're like a flightless bird," and then
big fat flightless bird.
Dennis is like, "Yeah, Frank, that's pretty much the baseline."
Yeah.
Which, like I said, I gotta say, I do part of me kind of thinks that this might have been like, I mean, obviously they don't just give up the gag entirely, but I think this is kind of like the last hurrah as far as like using it as like a main focal point of her character. I could be wrong about that, but it kind of feels that way.
Maybe.
All right. So yes, that's all she wrote.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I don't necessarily think this is like the strongest episode as far as being a Halloween episode, just because outside of the horrific implications, which I do like the unconventional Halloween episode element of that, where it's like, oh my God, we could be possibly looking at an incest baby, and that's more fucking terrifying than any Halloween monster. We get some fun Halloween costumes. That's about it, but it's a decent mystery. It's got some very memorable sight gags to it.
Yeah, it feels on brand for what It's Always Sunny would do. They would do kind of a riotous plot with it's just kind of like the holiday is just kind of like the excuse to get there. So it's not really like a Halloween episode, but we get it's kind of being misidentified by proxy of the costume. So it's mischief.
All right. Okay, so just to shout out a couple comments here. Little Blue says, "This marks the first episode I've watched of the show, and I enjoyed it well." I mean, I'm glad you did, Eli, but it's not exactly an episode to start with, considering there's a lot of like continuity that it's kind of like going back to. Like, you have no idea what the waitress is, you have no idea who the McBoyles are. you don't really know about the running gag with the bird thing. So, I mean, I'm glad you liked it, but I'm saying, like, don't, if you were confused about some stuff, if some stuff didn't land for you, obviously we're pretty knee deep into it. So we're making a lot of running. Like, the show doesn't really have a lot of continuity, but it does call back to running gags quite often. Is that a fair way to describe the continuity of the show, Dragon?
That's more or less, yeah.
Outside of, like, I guess just the Mac arcs that we've talked about, that's about the most long-lasting continuity that we have. Anyways. Okay, Sonia Pantoja just popping in to say hi. How you doing, Sonia? Hope you're having a good night. Let's see. We have Teddy. This show is comedy gold.
Comedy gold.
Referring to the McPoyles. They're not the best part of the show, but I love the main McPoyle actor.
Yeah, that's the guy I was talking about.
Yeah. The best evolution of the show is D going from the straight man to as crazy as the rest of them, maybe slightly more crazy than some of them.
Oh,
yeah, no, that was a really good evolution for sure. Yeah, Teddy says it doesn't have arcs. It has running jokes that build up. Yeah, totally. That's a good way to put it for sure.
Yeah.
I think the only one that did kind of legitimately turn into an arc is the Mac being gay thing.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, folks. That's the end of tonight's spooky selection. And our spirits grow weary. But they'll be stronger than ever next time as we engage in even more haunted holiday hijinks. Eh?